Hey, what's up guys? So in my last claw tutorial video, there were a couple of things that I didn't go more in depth, such as stretches, which claw grip may fit you, and finger placement. Playing claw should not be limited to just only one game and stuff, or maybe just a specific controller. Claw could be played with pretty much any controller and any game, such as Mario Kart, Overwatch, COD, Fortnite, Ratchet and Clank, or even Spider-Man. So always keep that in mind that this grip is very beneficial to any games, even fighter games as well, such as Mortal Kombat, Sparking Zero, Storm Ninja, and even Xenoverse 2. Alright, now that I got some of this stuff out of the way, we can hop right in. When it comes to stretches, it is very important that you don't sit for long periods of time and to stop when you do feel some type of pain for gaming. So have to do some type of warm-ups and stuff for your wrist. Alright, so one of the things that I like to do when I'm gonna stretch out my wrist, and you have to do it for both hands, it's not just a warm-up only for one hand. If you do only play right hand claw, it's meant for both. I am a double claw player, so I would just say just do both, or whatever. But and so it's very important that you can at least get blood flow through your fingers and stuff, and get your wrist really warmed up. Starting off with the first stretch is, to extend your arm forward with your palm up. Gently bend your wrist down so that your fingers point to the ground. Then grab your other hand, slightly pull your fingers back. Don't put too much pressure, but push it a little bit back, to really get it in gear. And then you want to hold that up to 30 seconds. And keep repeating it, between both hands, every single time. But doing it like the cycle, I would say do it for a couple of minutes, but make sure that you get into seconds to really get them warmed up. Alright, so finger extensions, there is one that you can do where you want to close your hand into a fist and then open them back up. Close and open back up. And do it, repeatedly. I would say, I don't know, another 30 seconds. I would say to do it in this, not too fast, not too slow, Alright, so for the third one, there is one that's called the prayer stretch, which I found out that it's you press your palms together right in front of you, your chest, and then you keep your elbows out and you pull down slowly, so that way you feel it here and here on your forearm. I would say hold that for a little while, maybe 30 seconds up to a minute, and just hold it there. Sometimes you can move it up to relieve, then pull down to just really get a good feel. So the downside of performing claw incorrectly does increase a lot of prolonged muscle tension. It does say that for a long time that players that do it correctly don't develop any problems whatsoever. But there are some that miss out on some of the steps that I pointed out, that they had to go get surgery, hear their their bones snap in their hands or their wrists and stuff, and they say that it feels uncomfortable when they even pick up items or just heavy stuff in general. So I highly recommend that you at least take a couple of those steps. So yeah. So over time, there has been a lot of ways that people play claw. You have spider claw, octopus claw, double claw, and maybe even only left hand claw. But there's also the popular right hand claw that so many people, so many pros and people actually like to. For me, I'm mainly a double claw player. I have been playing double claw for about so many years now, and I don't really play too much on my Xbox controller. But there are some benefits of me even playing double claw on here, even though it might look weird. So for me, I sometimes have to grab my pointer finger, and then place it on the joystick while trying to press the D-pad. So it sometimes does feel weird and a little bit awkward, but you know, once you learn how to play double claw, it makes it a little bit easy. I obviously recommend more of only playing right hand claw, just so that you're able to switch between the PlayStation and the Xbox controller a little bit more easier. You can use paddles, which I obviously do use paddles on this controller. I mainly use my paddles for, like, you know, Apex and Overwatch, and then that's it. Like, I don't play paddles on any other game other than just those two. But if you do play right hand claw on Xbox, it does make it very easy to like make the switch. Even just the standard PS5 controller, it feels really good as well. So one of the things that I gotta add on to, you know, the finger placement is that when you play right hand claw, usually people would use their pointer finger to press the left trigger, but then you kind of forget that, you know, you could do something similar that you're doing with right hand. Just bring your pointer finger, move it up from the trigger to the bumper, and move your middle finger over to the trigger, and be able to play bumper jumper if you do play bumper jumper. But a game like Apex, where, you know, crouching is very important, and, you know, over time you don't want to ruin your joystick because, you know, for rapid clicking, or just because a lot of people press your joysticks hard, you can switch your crouch to be your left bumper and then still keep your jump as A. And the same thing works pretty well with the PS5 controller, where, you know, you can crouch with the left bumper and then bang, jump right here. There's nothing wrong with changing your binds. You could always switch back to the default binds you had previously, or just the default binds in general. But if you don't want to, because you're lazy, or, you know, you just don't feel like it at the moment, then that's perfectly fine. You know, it still works well. For your sensitivity, I might have to speak differently on that, and it's because when I did switch over to claw, I did feel like I had to change my sense. You know, if we take a look at like somebody like Ecstasy, you know, who plays like a very high sense now, or taking a look at, you know, like somebody from Fortnite like Real Facts, you know, he plays with, I would say, like a mid to low sense, and he plays very well. Adjusting to new settings and new binds is difficult, but if you practice it every single day, you would start to get better at it. So like I said, don't ever hesitate to try something new. Alright, that's it that I have for this video. I did forget to add a couple things, I'm pretty sure, that, you know, you guys did request for. I mean, I didn't have the time, I did kind of rush it, because I've been pushing this far back and stuff, so that's my fault. Don't forget to like and subscribe to support me for anything that I post in the future. So yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.